Hey everyone, welcome back. Have a good day. Welcome back. I hope everybody's doing well. Hey, we've been talking about skincare again. There's going to be a series following the last two videos that will probably be something like 8 to 10 videos in total. And I'm just sharing my information that I've gotten over the last couple of years delving into skincare and taking care of oneself. Um, my skincare journey, I have to say, and I have to bring up front, my skincare journey or the metamorphosis that my skin has had is multi-layered. It's not just using, let's say, cleansers, ampules, serums, moisturizers, sunscreens. It's my diet's changed somewhat over the last 2 years. I have exercised incredibly a lot more than I have over the last, let's say, 20 years. So I'm getting out more, I'm exercising, I'm losing weight. And those of you who know me know that I've lost a lot of weight in the last 2 years. Um, Part of that is visible in my face where you can see my marionette lines because my face is kind of shrunk. And I'm going to be sharing that information as well in what I've been doing. Um, let's see. I've also been taking a lot of supplements. So I never did years ago take any multivitamins. And if I did, I would take them for a week or two or a month or two, and then I would stop. Now I'm kind of religious about these things. So I do take a multivitamin. I do take a probiotic, a prebiotic, and a postbiotic. I also take fiber pills. Um, so I've been trying to take care of my body, my temple, on these last years of my life. And not meaning the last years of my life, even though they are, but I mean the last couple of years. Anyway, going back to skincare, where I am, what's happened. Some of you have been sending me comments saying, oh gosh, I've seen a big change in the videos that you sent out, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, where I was about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 2 years ago, last year, and now. And the big change from the dark spots that I had on my face that are basically, I'm going to say 90% gone, um, to the patchiness, the melasma, and everything else. And again, I give a lot of credit to the books, the magazines, the articles, the internet articles, the YouTube influencers, the estheticians, the medical estheticians, and the dermatologists that I've been following the last couple of years on YouTube with their recommendations, their suggestions on what to do. And I thank them greatly. I'm going to give out a couple of kudos to, again, Cassandra Bankson. She was very influential for me. Hiram and Hiram's brand, Hiram Selfless. I will say James Welsh. I will mention the Dr. Lees, Dr. Vanita Ratan, because I'm a person of color. I try to follow some of the suggestions that she has and what would be good for a person of color versus a person not of color. And she gives one impression out there or one glimmer out there that says, if you go out into the sun and you tan right away, or you go out and get burnt right away, if you tan right away, you're a person of color, even though you might be pale. But if you tan easily, you're a person of color, a person who accepts the rays of the sun and you bronze easily. And vice versa, if you're a person who turns red within 15-20 minutes of being in the sun, you're not. And I am a child of two parents. I used to call my parents, and I've said this over the years, I called my mother Mrs. Knight and my father Mr. Day. And I remember going to the beach at least on one occasion with my dad and my mom. And I remember my dad would be like under a tree, and within an hour he was lobster red. and my mother and I would be in the sun for hours. So I fortunately took after my mom in that aspect. Anyway, going back to skincare, and the topic for today is purchasing. And you don't have to break the bank to be able to buy skincare. Some of the stuff out there is ridiculously priced, I think, in my eyes. Where I can see an item that's a decent cleanser, look at the Inky List on the back of it, and see what's there, as opposed to something that may have a more famous name. And their Inky List is very similar to the one that I'm looking at, and one item is like $15, and one item is like $50. And I don't understand a $35 difference for something that's very similar. It's the name. And what it reminds me of, and I'm old enough to remember this, where you can go out and get a pair of Levi's back in the 80s for like $20, or you can go out and buy a pair of, I don't know, Sergio Valentes, let's say, or Jordache, or Calvin Klein's, and pay like $100 for them. They're very similar jeans. The name is different. The quality is probably very similar, very much the same. They're jeans. So I'm thinking, in this era, that is the designer brands that are causing the names and charging all the money. And people are willing to pay for it. And if you have the pockets for it, kudos to you. But I say, do I have to? And if I don't have to, I don't want to. So I'm going to talk about a couple of topics, and the first thing is I'm going to talk about is vendors with brick and mortar stores. And some vendors may have their brands and their own stores. I'm trying to think of any skincare companies that maybe have their own store. I don't know of any that necessarily have their own store. What's coming to mind is something like Clinique, or something like Shiseido, that are well known, but they don't have their own brick and mortar stores. They're usually embedded in a store, like a Bloomingdale's, like a Macy's, like perhaps a Sephora or an Ulta. You're paying for all these layers of fancy brands. So if you are going to, let's say, a Sephora or an Ulta or a Bloomingdale's or a Macy's, you're paying, on top of the retail value, you're paying for where you're getting it. So beware of going to brick and mortar stores. Now, there are brick and mortar stores that you're going to say, but Javier, can I go somewhere else and get some of these? Yes, you can. The only issue is that if you go to a store that's, let's say, a premier store, in Ulta, Sephora, Bloomingdale's, Macy's, whatever, what have you, the items are going to be there, and there shouldn't be any problems in finding whatever item you're looking for. My second level of, let's say, department store to go to, and where I think you can find, and where I found some of the greatest deals early on, are going to be places like Marshall's, TJ Maxx, Ross. If you go to some of these stores, you're going to find some of these items at maybe 50% or less of the original price, the original retail price. Great place to find certain items that you'll find in other stores in great quantities. Here, you're going to find them in less quantities. You may find 1 or 2 or 3 of one item if you're lucky. So I found a lot of my Korean products and Japanese products at Marshall's and TJ Maxx. My 1, 2, and 3, I would say, would be Marshall's first, TJ Maxx second, Ross third. For whatever reason, I think the first two end up having more products available to their customers. Other stores that you can find items, perhaps not at the price that you're going to find them at, let's say, the bigger department stores, are going to be your drugstores or places like Target. Um, so CVS, Walgreens, Walmart, Target, you can find items there. I'm going to say you can probably find items at Target and Walmart periodically at a discount, sometimes 20% or greater. So look at those whenever you're shopping there. Next level, those are all your brick and mortar stores, physical stores that you can go to and purchase stuff. And of course, they have their own websites too, but these are places you can go and get your items right then and there. Next would be your online stores. And periodically, you're going to find deals there as well. These are going to be your Amazon, your Target, or directly from the vendor, the brand name itself, such as going into La Roche-Posay and seeing if they're running any direct deals. Usually they'll have promotions for first-time buyers. So take advantage of that if you can. So online. Now these are online US vendors normally. I'm going to talk about online abroad. So in the last year, I have gone into getting sunscreens that are approved in Japan and Korea that seem to me, for my skin type, very gentle, very good for my skin, and do the job. So for the last year, I was getting some of those from Amazon. These are Korean companies that had opened, let's say, a warehouse stateside and in mass transported their items to those warehouses. Now, the Japanese and Korean skin sunscreens, they use a filter system that's not yet approved in the United States or Canada or Europe. But it is in Asia, Japan, Korea, China, I believe the Philippines, Vietnam, Indonesia, and India. They're approved there. There has been a lot of study out there. We're kind of running behind that part of the world when it comes to mechanisms and filters that are used in their skincare, their sunscreens. So what happened is that they were getting all these items to warehouses in the States and selling them directly here, and within, let's say, 2 to 5 days, you had your items. There has been a crackdown this year. And in the last 3 to 4 months, the U.S. said you can't sell these sunscreens with these filtration systems in the U.S. So those warehouses that were amassing these items so they can get them to customers right away had to either get rid of their inventory, send it back to Japan or Korea, and then what you would have to do to get those items, because they do sell, let's say, sunscreen, for example, I'm going to say Purito, for example, Purito, great sunscreen. Round Lab, great sunscreen. Beauty of Joseon, great sunscreen. But they do have the filtration systems of Japan and Korea. Now, they can sell their sunscreens here, but they have to sell a modified version of it. They have to sell a modified version that is approvable in the United States. So the product that you're buying is not the product that's being sold in Japan or Korea. It's going to have the same mechanisms and filtration systems that other sunscreens would have in the United States to be able to be sold here. Now, to get around that, new hurdle is you have to directly go to the vendors out of Japan and Korea. You could still purchase them, you could still get them, but now you have to go onto the websites, and I'm going to give you 3 websites. Olive Young out of Japan, Korean Style out of Korea, and Stylovana, which I believe does both Japanese and Korean skincare products. The issue there is that you can go in, the websites are awesome. They'll give you prices in US dollars. Uh, they will then give you, I think it's something roughly like $10 for shipping. And the shipping will take anywhere from, let's say, a minimum of, let's say, 5 to 7 days to maybe 14 days because it's coming from the other side of the world. And that's the only way you can get around that now. So that's online sales. The next thing I'm going to talk about, and what I'm going to be talking about, and I'm going to give kudos out to some of the vendors, two vendors actually. I'm going to be saying hi to Sean Diesel, Shandizzle. I hope I spelled that right. Awesome vendor, love her, great. You can communicate with her, tell her what you're looking for. She will go out of her way to look for that item if she can. Now, she doesn't focus solely on skincare. She does skincare and clothing and colognes and perfumes. So check her out. Her real name is Shannon. Shannon, kudos. Thank you so much for being, a new friend and for being there when I wanted an item and you're like, I don't have it, but I'll look for it and I'll get it and I'll find it for you. The other is going to be DealStop, and that would be Rocky and his team. And Rocky focuses basically on skincare. No focus on, let's say, Asian or American or European, but just he has his vendors who supply him, and he gets products that come from Asia, Europe, the United States, Canada. And the good thing about these two vendors, and I'm going to put their logos up here, is they make sure that their products, like I love when Rocky goes in, opens up a bottle, a jar, a tube to make sure the seal is on and the product's never been used. Because, folks, I will say you need to be wary about that. You do not need to be putting on products that have been used by someone else. There might be 95% of the items still in there, but you don't know the other person's skin, and you don't know if somebody has some crazy things in their minds and they want to put something in a jar, a tube, or something that would not be good for someone else. So just be very leery. They also make sure that the products have the expiration date, and they will tell you the expiration date of the item if there is one there, so that you can take advantage and say, oh, it expires in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, I'm good. So what I'm talking about is going to be Whatnot. And Whatnot's this new app that, well, not that new, but it's an app that you'll get on your phone. It's Whatnot, and I'll put that up there as well. And I'll follow it up with the two vendors that I'm talking about, Shannon and Rocky. Basically, you're going to be finding items on there, and I've found several items for both of these vendors at 50, 60, 70% off of what I would normally find in real retail stores or online stores. So I want you to take advantage of that. Whatnot is auctions. So you can go into an auction and bid on something, and a bid can start anywhere from $1, depending on, the website you're going into. And you're bidding against whoever else is on that feed. And that bid can go up to $20, $30, $40, depending on how much these other people are looking for. Or you could be fortunate and whatever you're looking for will cost you $1 plus shipping. So those are my suggestions for not breaking the bank when you're buying skincare. Follow your journey, take your journey, get whatever it is that you need, experiment. But as always, I have always said, experiment first. Try on your skin here before you try on your skin here, because you do not need to irritate this skin. It is much more gentle than this skin. If it works here or here, Give it 2 or 3 days, then try here. As I've always said, the skin here is gentle. The skin here is more gentle. The skin here, even more gentle. And the skin here, extremely gentle as well. Be good to yourself. This is Javi. A good day. I hope you're having a great day. I plan on having one. And thank you for coming. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, and check out the people that I'm recommending again on Whatnot. Whatnot, the app, download it on your phone. Check out Shannon and Rocky's teams, and hopefully you can find some of the things that you need. Javi, a good day. Take care. Love you. Bye.